Sushi, Sudoku, karate, all these words are now part of our everyday life. We have assimilated, integrated, even adopted them. The influence of the Japanese culture is unquestionable, and that's what you're going to find out in this report. We'll attempt to introduce Japanese influence. In 2006, there were 25,000 Japanese restaurants all over the world, save for Japan. Within 3 years, there will be 50,000. France alone counts more than 2,000 of these restaurants. Today, we talk of sushi boom like we used to talk of fast food boom. But the country of haute gastronomie is not rancorous. The proof is that last year Michelin released its red guide about the land of the rising sun. It's the second time that French gastronomes and the Bible venture outside of Europe. The first time was in the US. In Japan, gourmet cuisine is part of the culture, and the art of entertaining reflects a way of life which subtly combines refinement with culinary pleasures. Michel Rollier, the director of the Michelin Group, explains. Today, there are schools in hotel management in France and Europe in which students are taught how to make Japanese delicacies. There is also a contest open to the students of the European schools in hotel management who are under 22 and non-Japanese, discovering sushi, which takes place every year in Lyon.
Who has never tried judo? In France, people started practicing martial arts 20 years ago. The number of people who practice martial arts has been increasing for 10 years. There are more than 168 various disciplines of martial arts, mostly from Japan, but also from China, Korea, Thailand, and Vietnam. Among them are Aikido, Judo, Karate, Shorinji Kempo, or Kendo. Everybody knows chess. But how many of you have ever heard of shogi or go? Yet, these games are very successful in our country. There are 112 go clubs and 105 shogi clubs in France. Since 2005, France has even organized national tournaments, Go World Championships. Sudoku. Does it ring a bell? This diabolical game, which is an unprecedented success, also comes from the land of the rising sun. Even though, according to the legends, an American student would have created it in the 1970s, it is in Japan that it won its spurs. For 3 years, the success of this game has spanned the 5 continents. There are even Sudoku World Championships. Today, you can play Sudoku on your mobile, your computer, your games console, or in magazines and tabloids. There are also many other expressions of the Japanese culture: yoga, shiatsu, the pruning of bonsais. All these practices coming from the Zen culture are very successful in our country. Today, Japanese patterns and design are very fashionable. They are present in our furniture, such as futon, or in our kitchen, plates, tea sets, and so on.
The editorial successes and the massive circulation of Japanese comics in France enforce made of this media an essential vehicle for French-Japanese cultural transfers. Associated with a group of support from the media Japanese culture, the manga have actually become significant in the cultural practices of French people. With 10 million yearly copies, France was the biggest manga consumer in the world after Japan. One French teenager out of 2 is used to reading manga. In 2005, the manga represented 22% of the turnover of the comic strip industry. It was the second most dynamic sector in publishing. There are 68 publishing firms in France that publish some manga. In 1994, 19 manga only were translated in French. Today, one comic book purchased in France out of 3 is a manga. Manga represented 10.7 million books sold and a turnover of 72.4 million euros. It represents around 3.3% of all the selling of books, whatever the kind.
When walking downtown, we can notice that the manga characters have now been turned into many goodies. We can find them in shape of little figurines in bookshops, toy shops, comic shops, supermarkets, or even clothes shops, such as today's star of these characters is unquestionably Hello Kitty, coming from the wave of manga kawaii, which means cute in Japanese. As far as clothes are concerned, a few years ago, it was difficult to get a t-shirt emblazoned with the image of your favorite manga hero. But today, shops specialized in manga design are very numerous. There are even manga characters, such as Nekoware or Bakayaro.
Certain fans even go further and do not hesitate to get dressed in the latest Tokyo fashion. Yamamba, Kogos, Industrial Lolly, Horror Lolly, Gothic Lolita, Sweet Lolita, Cyberpink, Fruits are the different movements of fashion directly inspired from manga. More and more schools also offer the possibility to train their students to become mangakas. Among them is Eurasian, the first school of higher education entirely dedicated to